In 1945, at a location in Egypt, a library of hidden texts was discovered. The location is called Nag Hammadi, and the find was very interesting. The burial dates for these texts seem to coincide with the festal letter of 367 issued by Athanasius. This festal letter basically solidified the final canon of Catholicism. It declared all other texts heretical and gives some description of why those texts are heretical. Now, besides the point that it took 3 centuries for the canon to be finalized, the reaction of at least one very important Gnostic was to bury his texts in the deserts of Egypt, and for that I am extremely grateful. The scholarship on these texts is relatively new, and already apologists have tried to explain these texts away. I, however, will not do that. There were 57 separate texts here. Whoever had these had to be important because this is a truly massive collection. In Wikipedia, you can find a list of texts found at Nag Hammadi, and while there are a lot of texts here that are very important, one particularly stands out as undeniably problematic for Catholicism. In this collection, a Gnostic version of Plato's Republic was found. Out of 57 texts, none of which seem related to orthodoxy, this is a huge problem. The reason is quite simple. Apologists have tried their best to say that the Logos concept in John is not connected to the Logos concept of Plato. This is an outright lie. The Gnostics, who don't seem to care all that much about the Orthodox stories, have a direct connection to Plato's Republic. Consensus scholarship has been that Gnosticism was a bastardization of Orthodoxy. There is no evidence for this claim. In fact, I'm not even sure when Orthodoxy literally begins. It would be very easy for a real Jesus concept to be derived from the Gnostic esoteric concept. And it's very plausible that what we know as Catholicism is a tremendous mountain of garbage. We don't have traceability of Catholicism before 140, and even before 200, it's a serious problem. And when you get into the Gnostic Gospels, it is obvious that there is a parallel between these texts and John. We don't know which came first necessarily, but there is a connection here, and I will be exploring it. Also, I will be extensively exploring the so-called Church Fathers and early Christian auxiliary texts. Catholicism is highly suspect of revisionism of its own history, and it's virtually impossible that they were able to revise their own history without making serious mistakes. Dates are questionable, philosophies are questionable, nothing is given as granted. Everything is on the table, but the history of Catholicism is going to be explored. As a side note, along with the Bible dating series, I've been working on an early church series. They're both complementary in ways, but they explore different things. If dating becomes too difficult, I may have to focus on the other series. I have the tendency to want to give more philosophy there and keep the dating separate. That may be a bad habit, it may make it confusing, I have no idea, but I'm trying to keep the dating series linear and on target.